This is Karen Gillenwater. I'm here with Susan Gorson talking about her works included in the exhibit. And the first one that we're going to look at, Susan, if you can tell us a little bit about your science fair piece.
Science fair resulted from a science fair project that my daughter did as a sixth grader. She, having grown up with an artist, was familiar with color, and she made three color wheels and knew from science that white breaks into the colors of the spectrum and wanted to know whether or not the colors of the spectrum would reassemble as white. And so we spun the wheel, and it ends up that it reassembles as sort of beige or gray, but that has to do with pigment content rather than pure light. And she got an honorable mention in the science fair, and of course I was pleased with her, but the whole time I was thinking that if color is my primary language, why have I never analyzed the individual colors in Roy G. Biv to see whether or not they have personalities, whether or not they have different velocities, whether or not they instinctively go toward more or less activity. And so I decided I was going to do what for the first time was a planned project. And the only idea that I had was not to have two pieces that fell consecutively in science next to each other on the wall while I was making them. And I did find that there was a difference between what happened at the red end of the spectrum and what happened at the violet end of the spectrum. But I also found that in working in a vertical format, that just that format could have influenced the way the shapes developed in the piece. And so I decided there had to be a science fair too, which was square. And then I sort of got hooked on science fair just as a formula for exploring pure color. And besides, rainbows make people happy. It's a universal happiness factor, and that's not a bad thing.